Hey, Mr. Jenkersons, I have a question about history.
Jimmy, we don't have time for that. We gotta get studying for the big test tomorrow.
But this question is really important.
Jimmy, thanks to President Bush's No Child Left Behind Act, it doesn't matter whether you know it or not, it just matters whether you get it right on the test. Because if you get it right on the test, our school will get the funding we need.
Oh man, Mr. Jenkersons. Oh man, I just don't get this. I wish I could learn more about the Bush administration's policies.
Hello, Jimmy.
It's Al Franken!
I hear you want to learn more about the Bush administration's policies.
Boy, howdy do I!
Then let's go!
Yeah! Hey, Mr. Franken, this is my favorite swimming spot, but the water looks funny today.
Well, Jimmy, now there's something in it other than water.
What's in it?
Pig feces, Jimmy. Pig feces.
Pig feces? How did they get there?
Well, thanks to Bush's environmental laws, big hog farming companies can dump their waste in local lagoons and rivers.
Gee willikers, Mr. Franken. But Mr. Franken, maybe this is the only way we can get cheap meat.
Actually, Jimmy, if the big hog farming companies dispose of their waste legally, then they wouldn't be any more efficient than the small family-owned farms.
Oh man, now it makes sense, Mr. Franken.
That's great, Jimmy.
Gee, Mr. Franklin, where are we now?
We're in a law firm, Jimmy, where most of President Bush's tax cuts are helping the rich lawyers who work here.
Wait up, Mr. Franklin. I thought the tax cuts were helping the average American.
Actually, Jimmy, the bottom 60% of America's wage earners only get 14.7% of that tax cut.
Gee willikers, Mr. Franken, that doesn't sound fair. Wait, Mr. Franken, I'm not just gonna believe our president's a liar. I need some proof.
Well, Jimmy, let me just read you from this prestiged economics journal. Okay. Our president took a 4.6 trillion 10-year projected surplus and turned it into a 1.8 trillion deficit.
What's that mean?
Well, that means, Jimmy, that we were expected to have $4.6 trillion more than our budget had predicted. But thanks to President Bush, we now have $1.8 trillion than we needed.
That doesn't sound good, Mr. Franken.
No, it doesn't, Jimmy.
Mr. Franken, where are we at now?
We're in a bunker in Iraq, Jimmy.
This doesn't sound safe.
You're right, Jimmy. You better wear this helmet.
Oh, golly, thanks, Mr. Franken.
Jimmy, we're here because our soldiers are looking for weapons of mass destruction.
Well, have we found any yet?
We haven't found any yet, Jimmy.
Well, then why are we still here?
I don't know, Jimmy.
Mr. Franken, my brother's here in Iraq and says we're just making things worse.
Well, Jimmy, that's pretty true. And our reasons for going war have been proven false, such as that Saddam was directly linked to Al-Qaeda.
Oh man, then what's happening?
Well, why don't you tell me what you learned today, Jimmy?
Yeah, Mr. Franklin, I learned a bundle today. First, I learned that the No Child Left Behind isn't helping our schools at all. It's just taking away their money and only teaching kids what they need to know for the test. Then I learned that under Bush, our environment's going down to the slumps. Then I learned that our tax cuts are only helping the rich getting richer and not helping out us average Americans. Finally, I learned that the Iraq war is a waste of time and money. Boy, howdy.
That's great, Jimmy. Sounds like you learned a lot today.
Mr. Franken, I have one more question. Why don't you like Bill O'Reilly?
He's a nutcase, Jimmy.